welcome to Supplier Wiki's Fast Pitch. Today, we are so excited to be introducing to you guys our newest product, Document Explorer. I am joined today by the amazing Carter King. Carter is a longtime SupplyPike employee. He knows way more than anyone should about retail and the wonderful world of shortages and shipping documents and all of that good stuff. And he will be kind of walking us through Document Explorer today. Before we get into it, just wanted to give you guys a little bit of housekeeping. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We get a lot of questions during our SupplyPike webinars, and we love to answer them. So please feel free to throw them either into the Q&A or into the chat, and I'll make sure that we get those answered. If we're not able to get through all your questions today, we will definitely follow up with you and make sure that you get the answers that you need. So no worries there. But yeah, really quickly before we get started, just wanted to introduce SupplyPike. To those of you guys who have not been on a SupplyPike webinar before, welcome. So really quickly, we are a Northwest Arkansas based software company, and kind of our bread and butter is we design software for suppliers across multiple retailers. We started with Walmart and Sam's Club because of course they are kind of in our backyard, and we're so proud to be able to work with a whole bunch of Walmart suppliers. But just last year, we actually expanded into Kroger, which is really, really exciting. And we plan to expand into Target and Amazon later this year. So please stay tuned to our space if either of those retailers are interesting to you guys. And kind of what we do every day is we help our CPGs to manage relationships with retailers, monitor the status of their business, and reduce costs and waste. So just to give you guys super high level introduction of some of the tools that we offer. We have a tool called Retail Intelligence, which is focused around sales and replenishment reporting. We have a tool called Deductions Navigator, which is around getting your money back for any deductions that the retailers take from you. We have a tool called OTIF Radar, which is of course focused around Walmart's on time and in full compliance piece. And we're super excited, like I mentioned, to talk to you guys today about Document Explorer. It is our newest tool, and it's going to help make your lives so much easier when you are fighting those nasty deductions from all kinds of retailers. So I have talked enough. I am going to go ahead and pass it on to Carter, who again will be leading us through Document Explorer. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A, and we will make sure that we get those answered for you. Take it away, Carter.
Great. Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, so Stacy touched a little bit on our history. A lot of you may know that we've been in kind of the retailer deduction space for a few years now, starting with Walmart and now with Kroger. So Deductions Navigator is our specific deductions product. And that, is a fully automated end-to-end kind of deductions solution where you can, literally click a button within our app and shoot off a deduction into that Walmart or Kroger portal. And part of that end-to-end automation is retrieving shipping documents and attaching them to shipping related deductions so that you can just click one button. You don't have to actually go out, find the document, upload it to the deduction, and then do it from there. So that has kind of been baked into our Walmart and Kroger product from the beginning. As we've started to research more retailers, so like Stacy mentioned, Target and Amazon, what we found is that on average, across all of the major retailers that we've done research into, shipping related deductions makes up the biggest dollar amount of any deduction type. So maybe not the overall actual quantity of deductions, but if you're looking at it from a dollars point of view, that's what makes up the biggest majority on average across all of the suppliers we've worked with, across all of the retailers that we've researched. And what's interesting about that is those shipping related deductions are the most likely to be invalid, and they are kind of the most straightforward to actually dispute, right? So there are lots of, each retailer has a different portal and slightly different workflows and everything, but kind of at the end of the day, when you're disputing a shipping related deduction, all you really need to do to prove that it's invalid is provide proof documentation in the form of shipping documents. So that's going to be the proof of delivery and or signed bill of lading. So like I mentioned, the overall process is really straightforward. You just submit that proof documentation. The execution, however, is not very straightforward. And what we've heard from all of our research interviews is that, in fact, it's really not straightforward at all. And it doesn't matter how you're shipping, whether you're collect or prepaid. The challenges for those are different, but they are big challenges on both sides. And so that's really what we're hoping to accomplish with Document Explorer, is making that execution a lot more straightforward, and making it just easier and more efficient to dispute a shipping related deduction for any retailer. And the way that we're trying to do that is first just automating the actual pulling of the shipping documents. So whether that is from a carrier or warehouse or 3PL, we have pre-built connections with over 50 different carriers and or kind of warehouse type of integrations. So that's, the first step is actually getting the document. Next step that we're working on, or that we have, is getting all of those documents into a single place, making it really easy to find the one document that you're needing. And we make it easy by kind of bringing that retailer and supplier point of view into the world of shipping documents, so that you're not having to search for a document based on a bill of lading number that really doesn't translate to a deduction or really retail at all. And we'll get into that a little bit, and how we're kind of doing that translation from shipping related identifiers to purchase order numbers in this case. So I mentioned all of the kind of pre-built connections that we have to either carriers or warehouses. It's really easy to get connected. We have over 50 that are kind of out of the box, ready to go. We're also willing to explore and build out connections to any carriers or warehouses that we don't have. For the ones that we do have, it almost never requires any kind of IT involvement on the supplier side. We are happy to do kind of, a consultation with your IT team if that, would help to kind of go over some details with them. But really, at the end of the day, all we need from the carrier connection point of view is just for you to submit your credentials inside the SupplyPike app, basically link your carrier account to your SupplyPike account. And on the warehouse side, so generally for collect suppliers, we're able to integrate with different kind of internal repositories. So pretty common that a lot of these warehouses are scanning these BOLs and putting them into a SharePoint or Google Drive or Dropbox. We have direct integrations with those. Basically, it's super easy. You just have to share access to SupplyPike, and that's how you kind of link your SupplyPike account and your warehouse. So really, really easy, straightforward on the connection side. And that allows us to kind of automate the pulling of those documents. So every night we'll go out and kind of search for specific documents in all of those different connections, bring them into SupplyPike. We talked a little bit about kind of translating shipping document lingo and making it a little more retailer friendly. So everything inside of Document Explorer is organized by PO number, which generally is how deductions are sorted and organized as well in these different retailer platforms. So we make it really easy, particularly so like on the carrier side, one of the common challenges that suppliers are facing is you may have several different carriers that you're shipping with, and they all have some of their carrier portals are relatively intuitive and easy to use. Others are not at all. So we kind of, remove that barrier from you with having to train your team and know how to use each different carrier portal and manage credentials, or you don't have to email the account holder and request that document and then they email it to you. So really streamlining that process of pulling all of your carrier files into SupplyPike. And then on the generally for the collect suppliers and on those warehouse connections, we're able to use our proprietary OCR, optical character recognition process, to extract data from these static PDFs. So we're able to pull pieces of data off of those documents and then use those for organization or being able to search for them. And the other piece that allows us to help out is we can split up those really large files. So a lot of times for collect suppliers in the warehouse team is just scanning these BOLs as they're actually leaving the warehouse. And what we see is pretty common is they end up just like in a massive PDF file that's not searchable at all. So you request a document from your warehouse team and they send you a 100-page PDF. And the one page that you need is somewhere in there and you can't search for it. So you've got to just kind of scroll through each one. What our Document Explorer does is kind of, splits it up intelligently based on PO number. So we take that 100-page document and we'll split that up into 82-page files as an example. So you've got your signed master BOL plus your supplemental BOL for that specific PO number. Again, that's what we found to be the most effective when you're disputing these, is you just send in the proof documentation for that very specific deduction.
We've got a couple of questions, Carter. So first question is, do I have to save each file individually by name in order for Document Explorer to find them? Or can I just use whatever the file name is when it gets scanned in?
Yeah, you don't. So we're actually extracting the data off of the document itself. So if you have some identifying information like PO number and you're saving that in the file number, we can use that, but we don't necessarily need it. We have a fallback where we're actually using the data that's on that document.
Nice. And then the second question is, I've worked with carriers that will delete my proof of delivery after a certain time. Will that get deleted on Document Explorer as well?
So no, and that perfect segue into this next slide. So after we actually, get the documents, we extract all the data that we need to, we organize them into smaller files. We then make them available for you inside Document Explorer, and they are available in perpetuity, which is, exactly that challenge can be. We've seen it as little as 90 days after the ship date. These documents can get archived into those carrier portals, and then it's even more of a challenge to actually get that kind of unarchived and get it. Once we have it in SupplyPike, it is stored in perpetuity. So if you get 6 months later, you get a deduction, that document will still be available in SupplyPike. And we've heard some customers say that this is almost like an insurance policy for them, because it's not even just deductions. There's things like post audits that can come 2.5 years later where you need these documents. So having them kind of stored in a central repository is I think key and will help solve a lot of those problems with carrier portals. The other kind of nice thing about having them all in one central repository, you only have to learn how to use one piece of software, and hopefully we've done a good job and designed it in a really easy to use manner. But we also once we have it organized by PO number, it's really easy to find what you're looking for. So we obviously support searching for a specific PO number, and you can kind of see that in this screenshot here. You've also got some different filtering options. So just finding that 1 or 2 page file that you need, really easy with Document Explorer.
That's awesome. So we do have more questions, Carter. So one of our attendees says that she is having some challenges getting a hold of signed BOLs. And even when they're located, finding a signed shortage is impossible. I know this kind of leaks a little more into the deductions navigator side, but do you have any insight maybe on the best practices for getting a hold of a signed BOL?
So yeah, it can kind of depend, with what we've seen with different carriers can make different documents available at different times. The one nice part of it being an automated process is you can let the software actually go out and look for the document. So you don't have to go back and check day after day. Do we have a signed BOL now? We will do that on your behalf and kind of continuously look for additional documents for these POs and bring them in when they're available. As far as, if you just can't get that signed BOL, we've seen some success with just disputing with the not signed BOL. It's better than nothing. And, there's kind of, why not go ahead and try it? But generally, yeah, if you can, the signed BOL is going to be considered more proof than the not signed BOL.
Awesome. Thank you, Carter. And then one more kind of general type question. So I think we've all seen Walmart's recent announcement about just how they're kind of tackling bots, for Retail Link. Could you maybe talk a little bit, Carter, about how that relates to Document Explorer? Will that impact it? And does Document Explorer kind of cross other retailers as well?
Yeah, that's a great point, and definitely meant to mention that up front. So the nice part with Document Explorer is it is generally retailer agnostic, right? So we don't have a direct integration with Home Depot as an example. We are, looking to get there eventually, but it's going to take some time as we roll out, kind of the highest priority retailers for some of our customers. So currently working on Target, Amazon slated next. But Document Explorer is meant to be kind of an interim solution. So we're not solving the, massive problem of deductions and automating the entire process, but we think we are basically solving the biggest pain point within deductions. So Deductions Navigator solves the entire deductions problem. Document Explorer solves the shipping document piece. So you would still have to actually, take the document that you get from SupplyPike and go into the Home Depot portal to dispute a deduction. But we're making it really easy to make sure that document is available and you're able to find it really quickly.
Awesome. So I think Carter is going to segue us into a really quick demo of Document Explorer Live so you guys can take a look at how it works. So again, you guys feel free to keep sending questions in, but I think Carter is going to walk us through a quick demo.
All right, so this is Document Explorer app. You can see it kind of lives within the broader SupplyPike ecosphere of apps. And this is essentially it. This is a demo environment. You can see we've got some kind of dummy PO numbers here. Everything is organized by this. I've got a handful of integrations. So, just as examples, we've got an email, Google Drive integrations that could commonly be used to connect to warehouses. And then kind of just some examples of some of our 50 plus carrier connections that we have already pre-built. So we can see here, just, we could say, just as an example, we're going to submit a dispute for the deduction with this PO number, search for it, immediately return this result. We can see our BOL is here. We can view or download it. Really easy just to get what you need. It's all there. It's all split up by PO number. So even if this came in as a 100-page document, we've now got it as just a 2-page document. And you can see I've got just kind of examples here, but I did submit these live through our OCR process. We detected the PO numbers and grouped these 2 pages because those POs appeared on both pages. So maybe as an example, this is like a master BOL, and then this would be a supplemental one. So make it really easy to download it from SupplyPike, go back to that Home Depot or whatever retailer you're working on, upload it there and continue with that deduction. So we talked about it being retailer agnostic. This works, and if you are a current SupplyPike Deductions Navigator customer for Walmart or Kroger, you will have access to this app already. You'll have your Walmart and Kroger documents there. It's completely automated. You don't have to request anything. Basically, as the deductions come in, we go out and get the documents. If you want to use this for another retailer that we don't currently have that full integration built with, the one piece that we would need from you as a customer would be to tell us which documents you need, or which PO numbers have deductions associated with them. Or if you just want to pull in all shipping documents, we've got some customers that are doing that today where, once a week on Friday, they'll come in and just tell us all of the PO numbers that shipped out that week. So we make that really easy to kind of capture that PO number, and I'll walk through a quick example of that. So I've got some example PO numbers here. Just copy those, paste them in. If you know which carrier it shipped with, you can tell us that. If not, leave it as unknown and we'll just check all of them until we find it. So again, making it as easy as possible. Click through a couple steps here, make sure these are valid POs for our Walmart business as an example. Click submit, give you a success message, kind of playing on that Explorer theme, says we're trekking through your documents looking for the ones you submitted.
I just saw that. That's so cute, Carter.
Yeah. Cool. And then, this, as an example, we've already pulled them back. They were in our Google Drive already. So we've pulled them back, made them available within the app and ready for download.
That's awesome. It sounds like it can cut down on a lot of just search time, which in the Walmarts, in any supplier world, it's just, there's so much time just spent looking for things.
Definitely. And yeah, just as an example, so say, maybe this company is shipping 90% is going through collect, and we can get those documents through email or Google Drive, but 10% of the time we're setting up prepaid with maybe 4 different carriers. You don't have to know which method that PO shipped. You let us figure that out, right? We'll go and check all of your connections and figure out where it came from. And then your document's just there and ready for you to use.
That's awesome. So Carter, we got a sudden large flurry of questions. So get ready. We've got about 7 minutes. So I'm going to try and get us through as many as we can. So do you know, Carter, if there is pricing available for our supplier teams to go check out and learn a little bit more?
So we are still kind of working through it. So we just launched this app about a month ago. We had been doing beta with some customers and they helped us build it out. We're still trying to kind of finalize pricing and nail it down. So we're trying to figure out what works well for customers. So we don't currently, for now, I would say, check out our marketing website, see if it would be a good fit for you. If you want to learn more, reach out to us, and I think you can kind of schedule a demo directly from our website, or feel free to reach out to either of us you can see our emails here.
Yeah, that's a great point, Carter. And just really quick, guys, just so y'all know, we'll be sending a couple of follow-up emails after our webinar is over. So if you are interested in learning more, like Carter mentioned, feel free to respond to any of those emails, or feel free to reach out to us directly. And we would love to talk to you guys more about it. Okay, so the next question that we have is, we use a consolidation shipping for Walmart. Can you get the POD from the consolidator?
So it kind of depends, and it would probably be worth a slightly longer conversation to talk through some of the specifics of that company and how they're shipping and which consolidator they're using. Some of them, they are available, and some of them are limited to just the BOL.
Okay, cool. So the next question is, so being, and this, I think we're leaking a little bit into the deduction side, but maybe Carter, by your and my powers combined, we can answer this one. So being a collect supplier, how can you dispute that you shipped your product in full when the warehouse, I think probably the DC, is stating otherwise? Sometimes even saying that you were short a couple of pallets and kind of re-deducting with a code 15, which is something that we've been seeing a lot. So they'll kind of say it's short, you dispute it, and then you kind of re-deduct with a code 15, which is something that we've been seeing a lot. So they'll kind of say it's short, you dispute it, you then they'll rededuct under a code 14 or 15 saying it's the, hidden concealed shortage, even though the driver signed off on the number of pallets loaded. So any thoughts on that, Carter? If you've got some thoughts, I've got some thoughts too.
Yeah, so I will speak to the actual shipping related deductions that you may receive. We see really, really good success, and depending on the retailer, some of them are easier to work with than others, particularly Walmart. Sometimes you'll have to go back and forth with them a couple times where they say, I see you have a BOL, but that still doesn't prove it. And you kind of go back and say, yes, it does. The driver signed off on it. So yeah, I would say, that's generally what you need. That is the proof that you did your part, right? Walmart came and picked it up, or whichever retailer came and picked it up. When they loaded it into their truck, the driver signed off that yes, there are 15 pallets, and that's really all you can do on your end. So if you get a particularly difficult rep that you're working with, you may have to go back and forth a couple times, but that should be, that is what they outline in their documentation, at least for Walmart, that's what you need to prove an invalid shortage deduction, is if you collect the signed BOL, and if you're prepaid, the POD in addition to that.
Yep. And just to kind of add on to what Carter said, I agree completely with that, but just to let you guys know, kind of, just because one of the kind of cool things about working with SupplyPike is we work with teams from 50 different departments. So we really get to see kind of what's going on across the entire box at Walmart. But we are seeing a lot of rededucts happening under code 14 and 15 with that concealed shortage piece. And so it does get really hard to fight. So if you're a 22, 24, 25, typically your BOL or POD is going to be sufficient. If they rededuct, it really does become a matter of he said, she said, because at that point, the product has gotten to the DC and there's no real way to fight it. Now, one thing we have seen some success with, which is a pain, but we have seen some teams after they load product onto a truck will actually take a picture of what was loaded. Again, it is absolutely a pain. It is absolutely unfair. But as we all know, Walmart and other retailers often put the onus on the suppliers to kind of prove their case. One of our other product owners at SupplyPike always likes to say, you're guilty until proven innocent in the court of Walmart. So again, not ideal, but a potential thing you can utilize is if you have the capacity and the labor to do it, taking pictures of what you've loaded. So at least you can use that as just further ammo.
Yeah, and another quick plug for Document Explorer. We can work with images as well. So generally getting PDFs, but we can load in and again, organize by purchase order number images of the actual truck being loaded, or the cases on a pallet, or whatever it may be. So not just PDF documents, but images as well.
That's awesome. Okay, Carter, last question, because we're right up at time. So this supplier said that they've had a claim denied by Walmart recently. Other than proof of delivery, they also asked for the driver's log sheet for UPS shipments, the manifest, wow, that's a lot, the manifest for consolidated orders, etc., for research. Is this something that DE can help with?
It is, yeah. So anything that your carrier makes available to us, or with, in an online format, we pull in. So whether that's a pick list or a pack list or a manifest, we will pull it all, and we'll keep them organized as well. So you've got your BOL, you've got your POD, you've got your pack list, and they're all kind of, organized and tagged appropriately.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, guys, we are right at time. I know we weren't able to get to everyone's questions. I'm so sorry. But as I mentioned, we will be following up right after this with a recording, as well as the actual slides from today's webinar. So please feel free to watch those. And again, if you want to reach out to us directly with questions, we are more than happy to answer those for you guys. But thank you guys so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. It was a lot of fun for us. And we look forward to seeing you guys at our next SupplyPike webinar. Bye, everybody.